And it looks like we're live. Give me just a sec, guys. I'm going to add in our superfan group here on Facebook. Get everybody here in our wonderful Mile High Huddle community into the show. Looking for green check marks across all platforms. And Mile High hello, everybody in Broncos country. Welcome into another episode of the Dub Valley Deep Divers podcast. I'm your host, Lance Sanderson, and joining me as per usual is Mile High Huddle senior NFL draft analyst, the one and only Erick Trickel. Erick, dude, it's hitting the dog days, man. The dog days of summer. Sports have kind of wound down. Obviously, the NBA Finals are all wrapped up. The Colorado Avalanche walked away with the Stanley Cup this past Sunday. That was absolutely amazing. Watched the game with my buddy and my son. It was just amazing to see the city of Colorado blow up on Thursday and whatnot. But now we're stuck with baseball, and the Rockies suck. So it's kind of a little bit grim to be a sports fan as of right now. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing all right, but I just got to say, it's weird to me that the worst sport is the one where the players make the most money. Baseball is so boring. Don't get me wrong. I like it when I'm there in the stadium, but it is such a boring sport to watch on TV. I would seriously much rather watch golf. Because at least there's more I can make fun of. Baseball, they stand around for 3 minutes, throw a pitch, and then you're standing around for another 3 minutes. But it's so funny to me that that's the way it is. And I know that baseball is America's sport, but it's really not anymore. But yeah, congratulations to the Avalanche. I'm glad they won, even though I hate hockey as well. I really hate all sports except for football, but I'm happy they won. I mean, I remember watching them when the Avalanche were first a thing and watching them and rooting for them when I was younger with my dad. So I still have a soft spot for them a little bit. It's like with some other things. I have soft spots for other teams in different sports, but you're right. I mean, now we're stuck with the Avalanche or with the Rockies, who suck. They will always suck. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. And we just got to grind it out for this last month or so, little over a month before football's back.
I'm not far off with you on the whole Rockies topic. I mean, after watching them trade Nolan Arenado away a couple of years ago and just that debacle that went down, they just refuse to seemingly figure out their pitching situation. They can't find guys that want to come in and come play. Dick Monfort, I think, needs to sell the team to somebody that actually is going to do something to help that team win, because his family first perspective as far as the front office and everything is concerned, like bringing in Bill Schmidt, who has been in the front office forever, to follow up after whatever the hell the guy's name was that was the GM before him. That's all he's done. He's always just promoted from within rather than going out and getting the best baseball guys. Like, who's my best friend that's still in the organization? Bring him back up. Like, it's just poorly run organization, and it's a shame that that is the dark spot in Denver right now. Because I mean, look at what's going on. You've got the Nuggets, who have a back-to-back MVP in Nikola Jokic, who's been playing incredible basketball. They're getting healthy. They made a big move to go get Contavious Caldwell-Pope the other day to be that six-man, like, three-point shooter, long wing defender and whatnot. You've got Avalanche who just won the Stanley Cup. You got the Broncos, who are on the mend. You've got the Colorado Mammoth, who just won the National Lacrosse League Championship. You've got the Denver Pioneers, who won the NCAA tournament in hockey. You've got it was Denver East High School won the national championship in hockey. They had another junior hockey team that won a national championship or a state championship, something like that. Like, they just got done celebrating all that with the Colorado Avalanche, and then everything is looking good. And then here's the Rockies, and they suck.
So with the Nuggets, real quick, and I know that is going to drive a lot of people nuts because we're a Broncos site and everything, but we're talking about a little bit about other Denver sports. Contavious Caldwell-Pope. I remember back when the year he was drafted, I was actually trying to really break into like the NFL draft process and doing that and expanding my horizons a little bit. That was the last year I did it. Is he still just a 3-and-D guy?
Yes, he really is still just a 3-and-D guy. He's not a slasher, not a great passer of the ball. He moves pretty decently without the ball, but for the most part, he's just a 3-and-D guy. Which is really what this team needed. Like, quite honestly, they needed a knockdown shooter on the perimeter that can take that can go out and, like, a healthy guy, because they have that guy in Michael Porter Jr., but he just can't stay healthy. So they needed a guy that you could kind of rely on to come knock down some big shots from Jokic as he passes the ball around and whatnot. And they needed another wing defender to pair with Aaron Gordon when they get out there in that sub package. So to me, getting rid of Will Barton kind of sucks. He's the all-time 3-point leader in Nuggets history. And then Monte Morris is a solid backup point guard. Giving up those two guys kind of sucks. It hurts the culture of the locker room, I think, a little bit. But getting KCP, a player that can stand outside and knock down some big-time shots for you, is a really big get for that Nuggets organization. But that'll end our wrap around Denver sports. I've been having a lot of fun this week.
Well,
if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go ahead, Eric.
It's a good thing that it's wrapping up, because that's about the extent of the knowledge I have of other teams except for the Broncos in terms of Denver. So
that's fair. So if you guys haven't got a chance to check it out, the other day I went on the Mainly Broncos podcast with Cameron Parker, Brandon Miller. We chopped it up about Denver sports there for a little bit at the end of the show. Please go check that out. It was a lot of fun to be able to sit down and get some outside perspective and whatnot. But guys, we've got a great topic for you today here on Dove Valley Deep Divers, which is what we do best, breaking down Broncos football in a deep dive analysis kind of way. We're going to look at the Broncos red zone offense as compared to the Seattle Seahawks red zone offense, and how getting Russell Wilson to coming to Denver is going to just drastically overhaul the way that this offense is performed in the red zone. Take another look, speaking of, because we have a new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and what he was able to do with his defense in the red zone as far as being an elite defense in the red zone over the last 3 seasons. We're talking about Ejiro Evero and just the guys in the scheme, and see what we can kind of project as how this team is going to look. But before we get into that, guys, got to say hello to everybody here in the chat. Kathy Lund is chiming in. She's like, yeah, now that hockey's over, it's like Netflix until football season. That's pretty much me. We've got Paul and the Hizzy saying, hi, Lance. Hi, Eric. What's going on, guys? Jeff Noyes in the house as well. Hello, Lance, Eric, Dylan, and Broncos country. Scott will be here in just a few minutes from the sound of it. Just kind of getting back into everything. But what's going on, everybody? Kayleon Green. This is a name that we talked to you the other day, I believe, on building the Broncos. So what's going on, Kayleon? It's good to see you, man. And Shades coming in here last second saying hello. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up what we got in the chat so far. Guys, get your comments in, super chats, stars, donations, anything like that. That would be a great way to help us get this conversation going. But with that, guys, I want to say hello again to everybody who are checking out Dove Valley Deep Divers podcast. You guys can follow us on Twitter by finding me at Sanderson MHH, and for Eric at Erick Trickel. And also, guys, make sure you guys are following at Mile High Huddle, because that is the mother account where you guys are going to find breaking news and analysis regarding your Denver Broncos, film breakdowns. I'm working on the Damari Mathis piece, so make sure you guys check that out here as soon as that drops. I'm hoping to get that up here in just a couple of days. It's been a busy week at work for me. So, but with that, guys, Eric, I'm going to run through some numbers for you really fast, and I want to get your just kind of overall takeaway with regarding the Denver Broncos as far as their offensive red zone productivity over the last 5 seasons, guys. I went to teamrankings.com, pulled all this information. And it's really bad. I went back to 2017, so I got 2017 through 2021 this last season. Back in 2017, Denver finished 32nd last in the NFL in red zone touchdown productivity rate, 39.58%. In 2018, they finished in 18th. This was the year they had Case Keenum, so they finally at least had a decent quarterback. 56.82%. This was the highest that they have finished in red zone touchdown productivity since in this sample size, and I think even going back to 2015, by the way. 2019, they finished 28th, 47.62%. 2020, they finished 27th, 53.33%. And 2021, they finished 21st with the Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater combination, 54.72%. Now, Eric, before we get into Seattle, I want your takeaways on this. First off, just how bad exactly is that? Obviously, you're ranking in the bottom third of the league pretty much over that. But why? Why is it that the Broncos were so bad in the red zone over these last 5 seasons?
The quarterbacks. Case Keenum was the only one who was somewhat decent, and I mean, it's fitting that was their best year over that sample size. The quarterback, I mean, we talk about it, we say it all the time. Quarterback is the most important position on the football field. It does so much for at any point on the field, especially in the red zone where things get so condensed for the defense that they really have to be able to read them and figure out what it is that they're seeing and where the weak spot is, and they be able to have to hit that, and not having quarterbacks who are capable of doing that, obviously you're going to struggle. I mean, it's been a consistent issue with them. At that point, I mean, if your quarterback can't handle it, you become very much a running offense in the red zone. And again, things are so condensed there. You don't have spacing on your side that it just makes it easier to defend the run. It's inherently easier. Like, it's a simple answer. I mean, it's the quarterback position. I mean, it's not 100% their fault. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But that's probably at least 70-75% of it, because they are the one who has to do all the pre-snap reading, figure out where the best place is to attack the ball, make any changes that need to be made. And the offensive coordinator, there's only so much they can do. They can call on the play, and once that happens, it's up to the quarterback. The offensive line, the offensive line could block better, but again, that's on the quarterback, identifying blitzes, identifying weak spots, getting a rough estimation about how quickly you have to get the ball out. It's just so much to it. Like, but quarterback is, just the biggest and most vital position in all of sports for a reason.
I don't disagree with that. Like, everything you said is 100% spot on. The one thing that I want to kind of counteract there with you is the offensive coordinator shuffle. Just over that same sample size, you've got back 2017. I don't even remember who the offensive coordinator was then, but 2018 was the last year under Vance Joseph. You have I think it was Mike McCoy, wasn't it? 2017 was Mike McCoy. 2018, I don't remember. I don't even remember who these guys were. Because the Broncos have had so many different offensive coordinators over the past 6 or 7 different seasons. 2019 was Rich Scangarello and that offense with the quarterback shuffle of Joe Flacco, of Brandon Allen. You had Drew Lock in there for a little bit. 2020, you get Pat Shurmur with Drew Lock and him playing just not necessarily very great, trying to learn, just how to be an NFL player. And then last season again with Pat Shurmur, like the scheme itself has always been a rapidly changing and rapidly evolving scheme that has always been super stagnant, especially when things get tight. Like, there's never been really any creativity to the play designs or any continuity within the offense in and of itself. I mean, you're talking about an offense last season with Pat Shurmur where Jerry Jeudy had 3 total red zone targets. That's a dynamic playmaker, a dynamic athlete that really does a great job in tight spaces with his route running and his ability to get himself open on pass routes. Like, you're talking about just an overall offensive inefficiency based on nobody knowing what their true role is over 5 years, and going back even further to 2015, 2016 wasn't any better. I mean, it's always been a hodgepodge of, I don't even know necessarily the right word. Tomfoolery would be the best way that I could say that. But like, there's so much that goes into it. Quarterback definitely being the one. Offensive coordinator and scheme, I think, has a big part to do with this as well.
Well, I mean, again, it just comes down. Yeah, there's issues with constantly rotating the scheme. Like, no argument there. But when it comes to the red zone, players still have to go out there and play. Yep. I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, it makes the job of the offensive coordinator that more difficult. They can draw up a nice play, and the quarterback just doesn't read the defense correctly. Yep. We've seen that happen multiple times. I'm not saying that Shurmur was great, but there were some play designs of his that weren't bad, that were ruined by the quarterback, by Luck, by Teddy Bridgewater. Didn't matter the quarterback. Bill Musgrave in 2018. I mean, who was the quarterback that year?
2018.
Yeah,
was Case Keenum.
I thought that was 17. I'm off, but
2017 was the second year of Trevor Siemian, and then 2018 was Case.
2019 was with the Flacco Allen. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, like 2019, Rick Scangarello. I mean, I didn't like the job Rick Scangarello did, but he drew up some nice plays. They draw up some nice plays, but the quarterback, like, they can ruin it. It doesn't matter. I mean, even great quarterbacks can sometimes ruin a greatly designed play.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I mean, they deserve part of the blame for it. The constant rotation of the offensive scheme deserves some blame for it. But again, I would say that 70-75% of the blame falls on the quarterback because it makes it harder. And guess what? If you're an offensive coordinator or you're a quarterback coach, you better hope you have a GD, I'll say that, quarterback, because if not, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, you find one, or you're going to lose your job.
Well, I mean, look at where we're at right now. If the Broncos would have been able to, I've heard this as a hot take on radio, and I mean, it very well could be the case. You're talking about if the Broncos go and do manage to somehow land Aaron Rodgers during last year's NFL draft, is Vic Fangio fired? Like with the work that he does with the defense, Aaron Rodgers comes in and the offense starts to pick up and do their thing. I've got some numbers on Aaron Rodgers, by the way, here that I want to get into here in just a minute. But are you talking about an offense that finally has the ability to put points on the board, take some pressure off the defense, and then Vic Fangio potentially being in the terms of in the talk of coach of the year because of just what he's able to do with that defense and being so efficient in the red zone. And I mean, they gave up 367 points, I think total is what it was last year. They were at the top of the NFL. Like they've done a great job defensively, and there's no doubt about that. It's always been just how bad this offense has been. And now that you have a quarterback, and we'll get into this here right now, actually, you've got a quarterback that's coming out of Seattle who's been one of the most productive red zone quarterbacks in the NFL over the past 5 seasons, guys. Like Russell Wilson is an absolutely tremendous red zone quarterback. And this, again, is a guy that just knows how to go out and make some plays. And before we get into that, I want to say hello. We got some more people jumping in here in the chat. We've got Phil McLaughlin jumping in here saying, good evening, Lance, Eric, and Scott. Hashtag Let's Ride. Hashtag Go Broncos. Good to see you, Phil. Thank you for that. Lawrence Rivera jumping in here. What up, guys? I'm about to hit the Greeley Stampede's 100th Carnival Festival tomorrow. That sounds like a lot of fun. I haven't been to the Greeley Stampede forever. My goodness. Can't wait for the 4th. Any plans for the weekend since it's the holiday, Eric?
No.
Why not?
I'm not. I don't really want to get into that.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's 4th of July has never been a big thing in my house. So it's just, we do a small thing as a family. There's not much to do here. There's a small parade, but we're not going to that. Like, we'll just have a small thing as a family. That's about it. That's all we always. That's about all we ever do.
Nice. My sister's getting married tomorrow, so we're going down to see the folks and have a good time there, and then come back Sunday home, and then do fireworks and stuff like that. Nothing super spectacular, extravagant. Just doing the wedding is the big thing. Kind of last minute on that as well. Thank you, sis. I love and appreciate you for letting us know on Sunday that you're getting married on Saturday. So
you still have time to warn her against it.
Yeah, at least I will say though the one thing about this marriage is my sister is a fireball. She's always been like super hot headed and everything, and not to talk down on her. She's always just been kind of like that crazy psychotic lady. But so her finding her husband to be her fiance has been one of the biggest turnarounds in a human being I've ever seen. Like it's been amazing to see that her being as happy as she is so great, and I love and respect the hell out of Cody for being able to do that, and to get Corinda reeled in and whatnot, calmed down and everything. It's an amazing turnaround, and I'm so happy for her and for them as a couple in general. So congratulations to those guys. I'll throw that out there to everybody in Broncos country. To my sister Corinda and her fiance Cody get married tomorrow afternoon. So congratulations to those guys. That's my big plans for the weekends. We'll shoot some fireworks off, smoke some ribs on Sunday with the in-laws, and just kind of have some fun. Maybe shoot my new 7 mag, get it sighted in during the afternoon. That ought to be a little bit fun. I think we could probably get something like that done. So yeah, it's going to be a fairly decent weekend. And Lawrence, hopefully you have a lot of fun. Stay safe out there, guys. Don't blow your fingertips off. I mean, that's always a bad idea. And please
don't JPP yourself.
Please. Yes, there you go. But please, it happens every single year. You always hear about it. Please, guys, please do not drink and drive. Like, be safe, take care of yourself, make good decisions, and please, again, be safe and respectful to everybody around you.
And be safe with those fireworks too. Don't go starting any fires.
Yes, we don't need any fires. It's already bad enough as it is. It's already bad enough as it is. We've got Mike in here, Chase Wellner as well. Ernie Mays jumping in on the show saying, hello, Lance and Eric, go Broncos, let's ride. Yes, sir, absolutely. Renee Himes, fear of the quarterback, absolutely. Mark Schrader, happy Friday, guys. Mark, happy Friday to you as well. And thank you for joining us on Dove Valley Deep Divers. And thank you for the stars on that. And thank you to Greg Smith for shouting out the fact that Mark had some great stars attached to that. Now, getting back to our conversation at hand here, guys. The Broncos getting Russell Wilson, not only just as far as the leadership capabilities and the ability to turn them into an instant contender, is going to it's going to help this team in such a major way in just the red zone alone. Back since 2017, the Seattle Seahawks offense has been in 2017, they were 12th in red zone efficiency, 55.56%. 2018, they were 7th at 65.52%. 2019, they were 5th, 64.62%. In 2020, they were 3rd, 66.67%. And last year, they were 3rd as well, 64.58%. And Russell Wilson ended up missing a lot of the season, obviously, with that mallet finger injury. A big reason why I wanted to do this conversation was because I saw a really good article from John Heath over at Yahoo Sports on Broncos Wire. And he has a great quote from Russell Wilson on May 23rd that Russell Wilson said, quote, "It's about touchdowns when you cross that red zone. The whole game is about
you are
touchdowns."
breaking up really bad.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. How bad was that? I hope everybody can still hear me.
It's pretty bad. I'll give you a chance to figure that out. And one thing that you said earlier that I want to talk about is how many times, talking about the whole coach and the quarterback thing, how many times do we see a coach look good because they have that great quarterback and they fall apart when they don't? I mean, we had John Fox for for those early years of Peyton Manning, and before that, his offenses didn't look that great. I mean, it just goes to show how much the quarterback is. And then with Seattle, I mean, Russell Wilson, there's no denying the ability he has. And adding to it is his ability as a runner to go and create for himself, to go and Lance is restarting his stream real quick, guys. He'll be right back. Having some internet issues there. But having these extra abilities that you can have to go and the running ability is obviously just such a big boost when the area of the field is so condensed, because then you can sit there and you can turn your passing game. Well, now your passing game also has the threat of the running game. So it's no surprise that it has such an issue, that Russell Wilson did so great. And of course, for multiple years there, he had such a strong running game, but the offensive line was bad. I don't think people realize this. Last year, he had the second worst offensive line in the NFL. And that's taking into consideration his ability to make people miss, avoid sacks, and extend plays. Like, it's just a straight up expected time to throw and how well the offensive line did. He was the second worst. Only one that was worse was Matt Ryan. So he's bringing all these skills and all these traits for an offensive line. The Broncos offensive line wasn't great last year. They struggled, but having a veteran quarterback should help them out. Having a guy who can sit there and make people miss, buy some time, that is also a way to help out your offensive line, and Denver hasn't really had that. So it's going to be interesting. I would not be surprised at all if the Broncos are a top 10 at least red zone offense this year because of what Russell Wilson brings to the table.
I don't disagree with that at all, and I'm not sure exactly what you said as well. I was trying to get my stream refreshed, and I do apologize for any technical difficulties. Gary Palmer says that he could hear me just fine, so maybe, Eric, it might be just a connection issue between you and myself. Again, guys, apologies for that. We try to do the best that we can here on the Huddle Up Podcast Network, working through internet streams and whatnot. But I want to go back to what you were saying about Russell Wilson, his ability in the red zone to extend plays and just find the ability to go out and make some big plays in the red zone. Since 2017, these are the rankings that Russell Wilson. I'll give you the numbers and the rankings of Russell Wilson in terms of red zone touchdown passes. 2017, he had 22 touchdown passes. That was fourth in the NFL. 2018, he had 23 touchdown passes, tied for third. 2019, he led the NFL with 25. 2020, he had 29, which was second in the NFL, only to Aaron Rodgers, who threw 35. And then in 2021, he had 15, but he missed all those games with that mallet finger. But in every single one of those seasons, he had it was 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2 rushing touchdowns in the red zone, respectively, from 2017 onwards. Like, you're talking about a massive amount of production in terms of getting the football into the end zone, in the red zone. And the numbers don't lie, guys. I mean, on average, you're talking close to 64% on average of putting the ball in the end zone when you get into the red zone. Having a quarterback of Russell Wilson's caliber is going to take this offense to a completely new level.
Yeah, I want to grab this comment real quick from Jeff Noyes. How does Wilson play in the elements, snow, wind, rain, etc.? He's going to see a lot of it. He saw a lot of it. He played in Seattle, the rainy city. Nick Kendall can attest to that. It rains there constantly, never stops. That's why Nick's always in a bad mood because he can never go hiking. Joking aside, but he's played in the elements before, and in Denver, you actually don't see near as much as a lot of people think. I mean, the last few years, the bad weather games that Denver has had have been away games.
Yeah,
and guess what? He had away games there in bad weather too. Like it's an issue if you haven't seen it. There's a right to be concerned. It's like Kenny Pickett coming out of Pitt. There was a reason to be concerned about how he would do in bad weather games because he didn't see a lot of them in college. He had one last year where his performance statistically was fine, but when you actually watch him and watch the changes the offense had to make because of his struggles, like it was concerning. But Wilson has plenty of tape out there on the field with it. Like in these bad weather games, there's not a reason to be concerned. If there is a issue with it, again, so many variables to it. And yeah, there will probably be moments where he struggled. There's times he struggled in Seattle, but there's times he had some amazing games too.
And no, Jeff, you're fine. I see you coming back. Just asking about that. No, you're good, dude. Like that's something that a lot of people like to bring up when you're talking about a new quarterback. It's just in Denver. I think the one thing you're going to see more than anything is the wind, like because it's oftentimes windy in Denver. The cold weather games obviously is going to be something to kind of keep your eye on. But as far as snow and rain games, Denver gets 300 days of sunshine a year. Like everyone's always worried about these snowstorm games and stuff like that. Yeah, they happen. They happen in New England. They happen in Philadelphia. They happen in Green Bay way more often than they happen in Denver. Like there's a lot of times that people kind of overstate that impact as far as a quarterback's play is concerned. So it's a great question. It is a good question. And to give you a little bit more context, and we're not coming at you again with like just having a conversation with you. It's a great question. And thank you for joining us. Keeping with the conversation here, as far as Russell Wilson's ability in the red zone, he's done a lot of this with relatively lackluster wide receiver play. Now, this last couple of years with DK Metcalf, with Tyler Lockett, have been all right. I believe he had Jimmy Graham in 2017 and 18. So he had threw, I think, 16 touchdowns to Jimmy Graham over the course of those 2 years. Denver's a different beast here with Russell Wilson because he actually has 3 really high quality, just wide receivers at the position that like playmakers that can be really good red zone threats in Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and Jerry Jeudy. I mean, with the big body ability of Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, like the jump ball, go and get it kind of guys. But then you also have the quick route running of a Jerry Jeudy. I alluded to that just a few minutes ago. Is this a potential possibility to see Russell Wilson have his best year in terms of being a productive red zone quarterback just because he has the talent around him that he can get it done?
I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, it goes beyond the 3 receivers. Albert Okwuegbunam was widely viewed as a mismatch in the red zone because of his size. Greg Dulcich is a mismatch. And then you have Javonte Williams in there. Like, they have it to be so effective in the red zone. And overall, that, it could easily be one of his best years. Wilson can still play. A lot of people want to point to how he did the first couple games back after the finger injury last year when he came back earlier than he was supposed to.
Right.
And some of those moments were rough, but people don't realize that he was having such an outstanding year before that. And after the first game or two, he was almost back on track to what he was beforehand. I understand that there's concerns about the longevity of his play style, but he's not showing the signs of slowing down just yet. Probably have 2 or 3 years for that before, at the least, before he does. So it's very reasonable to expect that. Plenty of weapons, a better offensive line than he ever really had in Seattle. Like, there's so much going for him here that it's easy to see that this could be his best year.
Yeah. To tie into that, we've got Nathaniel Hackett coming into here. Obviously the offensive coordinator in Green Bay since 2019. So out of my curiosity, I went back and checked out the numbers, just touchdown numbers from Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay over the last 3 seasons from 2019 to 2021. 2019, middle of the road, he only threw 16 touchdown passes. 2020, he led the NFL, as I said before, with 35. In 2021, he was tied for third with 28. the big thing that I want to kind of address here is the scheme in Green Bay with a quarterback that has the ability to be a dynamic red zone threat, and then a guy like Devontae Adams, who I'm not going to directly compare Jerry Jeudy to, but I do want to say that is the role that I project Jerry Jeudy to have in this offense as a whole. Like I do believe the dynamic route running of a Devontae Adams, being able to play out of the slot, using him in the quick passing game in the red zone. How do you project what Jerry Jeudy is going to be able to do in this red zone offense, or even just in the offense in general, with understanding what Russell Wilson likes to do from an offensive standpoint, and also what we saw with the Green Bay Packers and Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator the last 3 seasons?
I think they're gonna. I mean, he's not going to be used as that gadget trick guy to try to bait them on the end around handoff. That's going to be a big one. They're going to use him, I think, predominantly out of the slot to try to create some kind of mismatch against it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a good number of big slots. Tim Patrick with his blocking ability. One thing I'm curious to see is how often they'll run the ball with Jerry Jeudy in the slot, because there is a very reasonable concern there with Jerry Jeudy and his blocking ability, and there has been since he came out of college.
That's a good point.
So I think with Hackett, I don't think it's going to be like a set pattern, kind of like how we saw so often with Pat Shurmur, one of the areas that was such an issue with him. I think it's going to be more versatile, more creative, and just trying to create the best mismatches that they can. And I think there's going to be some freedom with Russell Wilson as well to move receivers around to try to help them get those mismatches. Now, real quick, I wanted to go back because I finally pulled up some stats about it. After the 2019 season, Russell Wilson had 28 touchdowns to 12 interceptions in games of 40-degree weather or less, and he averaged at least 2.5, just over 2.5 touchdowns per contest. So his performances were quite good in bad weather. He had one really bad game against the Eagles where he threw like 5 interceptions, or the Packers where he threw like 5 interceptions in it. And looking at the clips real quick, a lot of them bounce off the receiver's hands. Like they were perfectly placed. But so not to bang on that, Jeff Noyes. I knew that there was statistics out there. I just wanted to provide that. And you asked, does he wear a glove? He does wear a glove on his non-throwing hand.
Yes, I actually knew that as well. Pardon me for taking a drink there. God, I'm always just shocked at your ability to, and not to sidetrack this conversation, but I want to give you just some kudos here of your ability to carry on with the conversation, go through, find the most obscure stat ever, keep on talking, listen to what I'm saying if you actually are listening to me, which you never actually are.
What was that?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's impressive. Like we did that show when I was away from home. We did the free agency show. You were listening to Russell Wilson's press conference as well as me at the same time, talking about like relaying what Russell Wilson was saying so that I could hear it and still being in the conversation. I got to give you kudos every single time you do that. Let's run to this comment stream really fast before we jump to the defensive side of the football, because I think there's some really good points that I want to kind of throw out there. I don't have a whole lot of information as far as like player standouts or statistics and stuff like that. Really just a bunch of numbers on just the efficiency of this Vic Fangio defense is returning a lot of players, upgrading some guys and whatnot. But I want to get into the defensive side of the football on the other side of this really fast. Gary Lees Palmer jumping in here. What's going on, Gary? Nice to see you. Good stuff, guys. There's some great information about Russ. He is so underrated. I actually agree with that. I think that Russell Wilson is incredibly underrated. Kayleon Green coming in asking the question, didn't they beat Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl against us? I'm not sure what beat Green Bay. Are you talking about Russell Wilson, Super Bowl 48? I think that was the case. Eric, you might double check that for me. Fact check as you are very apt to do and also very good at doing it. Let's see here. Jeff Noyes saying the game in KC is always snowing. It's always cold in Kansas City because it always seems like Denver's playing Kansas City in December. Kayleon Green, cold weather game, Seattle, Green Bay. Oh, that was the Rodgers game. Not Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers, the tight end. What was his name? Dang it. Went right through his hands. Russell Wilson made a great throw to Jermaine Kearse at the end of that game to set up a game-tying touchdown. I know exactly what game you're talking about now. Yes, Kayleon. Kayleon Green here saying the cold weather game, Seattle and Green Bay, that was at CenturyLink Field. I know exactly the game you're talking about. NFC Championship game 2013, I believe was the year on that. Yep. I think you're right there.
No.
Huh?
No. The 2013-2014 playoffs, the Green Bay Packers were eliminated in the wild card by the San Francisco 49ers.
Am I thinking 2012-13 then? It was right about that.
I can check.
I think that's what the game that he's talking about, because it was an NFC Championship game.
San Francisco, Green Bay beat Minnesota in the wild card, and then San Francisco beat Green Bay.
I know there was.
I'll find it.
Damn it! I can't. I know what game you're.
I know there's one. 2014-2015. They beat in CenturyLink Field. They beat the Green Bay Packers to go on to lose. That's the one where they should have ran the ball.
Yeah.
Instead of throw it.
Right.
It was that year.
Yep.
And Dale, yeah, my webcam doesn't get enough power from my computer, so sometimes it freezes up on me. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. You gotta give it a little love taparoo. It's all on the hips. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore references for you. Renee Himes, the Broncos finally made a good move in acquiring Wilson. Yeah, and to give you a little bit more context, that's why we want to go into these red zone numbers. And speaking of red zone numbers, looks like Gary Leeds Palmer jumping back in, saying, I think Greg Dulcich will be a dark horse this year. He will be open a lot. Eric, I want your opinion on this, because Luke and I went and chopped it up on Building the Broncos the other day about just the year one impact because I believe it's Chad Reuter, NFL.com, had projected that Greg Dulcich was going to make the all rookie team this season at the tight end position. What do you think Greg Dulcich's role is going to be in this offense? Just to start the season. I think he has the ability, enough ability, if he can show it blocking, that he can beat Albert Okwuegbunam. I'm just going to throw that hot take out there. I think that Greg Dulcich is week one tight end one.
We've talked about this before. The odds of a rookie tight end coming in being a starter is so slim, especially when they have somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be Albert Okwuegbunam to start. Maybe Dulcich comes over. It's just not common to see rookie tight ends perform year one. I mean, they're literally viewed as the second hardest or third hardest position to transition to the NFL. Because not only do they have to pick up on all the NFL passing concepts, they have to pick up on all the blocking concepts for the running game. Like, there's so much on their plate, as well as picking up the technique. Quarterback is obviously the hardest. And there's a couple I could see the argument for, but none I would really say is harder than tight end. But that said, he does have traits that can see him have a solid impact as a rookie this year. I just not 100% sure he'll be able to, that all rookie team as a tight end with some of the other tight ends that are in this class, with where they went and who they're playing with and the situations there. But I think he'll have a decent impact, seeing a good amount of snaps. Because, I mean, even as a rookie, you want them to get out there on the field. That's the quickest and easiest way to bring about development with a player. Right. Throw him to the fire. So I think he'll have a decent amount of time.
I want to piggyback off of that just really quickly to fill up some more time. We got about 20 minutes here left in our discussion tonight. The one thing that I really want to say here is you're talking about the pass blocking and run blocking, understanding the route concepts and stuff like that. Something I talked about on Building the Broncos the other night. If you guys didn't check that out before, like when you talk about offensive linemen, like a Garrett Bowles, for example, he plays left tackle only. Like, he lines up at the left tackle position. He doesn't bounce around the offensive line, bounce around to that's his one position. Greg Dulcich has to learn the run blocking schemes on the right and left side, pass blocking on right and left side. He has to understand the route concepts from attached inline, split out in the slot, backside X, front side Z, from the fullback position, from an H-back position, and understand all the blocking schemes, playing the fullback and H-back if he does do something like that. There's just so much that goes into it. I said it that this is probably the best way, and Eric, you said it very astutely as well. Learning how to play tight end at any level, it doesn't matter if it's high school, college, or especially in the NFL, is a top 5 hardest position to learn, and it's not number 5. It's somewhere from 1 because it's obviously the quarterback. So 2 through 5, somewhere in there is a tight end position. It's incredibly hard to be able to come in and have that year 1 impact. I just like the tools a little bit more with Dulcich than I do with Okuwebanam. And there's some more multiplicity because I think that Dulcich has a better ability to run inward and outward breaking routes and not just use that straight line speed. Albert Okuwebanam turns like a battleship. At least Greg Dulcich can stop on a dime and sit down, find the open hole in a zone, and just be a multiple tight end in that aspect. I also like the straight line speed and the ability to break tackles after the catch that gives me more reason to want to get Dulcich on the field than Okuwebanam. I also like the blocking a little bit better. That's just why I think that you can see Dulcich have a bigger impact and potentially be that first tight end on the field, if that makes sense to you.
And I want to grab this comment here because Fant did fine. Fant did. Fant had one of the better years as a rookie tight end. He had 562 yards as a rookie, which was not even in the top 15 best rookie seasons. Like they happen. Most of them happened years ago. When I don't want to say it was easier, when the way the NFL was so different, and the utilization of tight ends were so different. Since 2000, there are only I think by rough estimate, 5 tight ends that have been in the NFL since 2000 that have had some of the best years. Kyle Pitts was a starter last year, and he's the one who has the best rookie tight end season, but he's not really a tight end.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, because he's listed at the tight end position, he played more like a wide receiver. He's the second tight end, I believe, in NFL history to have 1,000 yards as a rookie, and the first one since Mike Ditka back in the 70s. Like
they're the only two to have over 900 yards too.
Yep, like it's incredible to see what Kyle Pitts was able to do, but it's also a different league now. Mike Ditka doing that, having 1,000-yard season back in the set, was it 67?
61.
61. Okay. To have that kind of a impact that long ago, before the Super Bowl was even a thing,
it was a thing. What makes his years even more spectacular was how much that wasn't really a passing league back then. Like, right. He caught 56 total catches for 1,076 yards. 56. Right. Kyle Pitts
56 catches for 1,076 yards. That's
in 14 games, and Kyle Pitts had 68 for 1,026 back at that time. And Mike Ditka had 12 freaking touchdowns. But my point isn't so much that rookie tight ends can't. There's exceptions to the rule. The general rule is rookie. You're not going to get much out of a rookie tight end just because of how much is on their plate to develop. Yep. There's been plenty of rookies to start. Pretty sure Noah Fant was a starter his rookie year. Looks like Lance is being attacked by something.
No, I saw the flash and the thunder, but we're getting pounded with rain right now. So I muted my microphone. I saw the flash and muted it instantaneously. That was loud. Sorry. Dulcich can. There's some points that you made that I kind of disagree with. I don't think that, and it's not that I think Albert Okuwebanam is a great blocker. I don't think that Dulcich is better. I will give Dulcich the fact that he does try a little bit harder. But one thing I'll bounce back as is my big thing with Albert Okuwebanam. He turns like a battleship, but he has improved dramatically. He's still not on the level there. We have seen great progress from Albert Okuwebanam, and sitting there and not saying that you're doing it. There are others who do seem to be. There seems to be this write-off of Albert Okuwebanam and the development that he's had. Right. Because the brand new shiny toy of Greg Dulcich. Right. And it's nothing against Greg Dulcich. I mean, we see that happen a lot. But I still think, as I said, that Okuwebanam I do think we'll see a good amount of 2 tight end sets. I will think that we'll see a good number of one of them in the as an inline tight end, the other one in the slot, depending on certain down distance, location on the field, things like that. We're going to see a rotation of these weapons, and that's why I do think that even if he doesn't end up a starter at some point this season, which he very well could,
I think that that we see not quite even, but a pretty close split of reps between the two.
Right. I think it goes without stating. I mean, we've talked about it so many times over the past, ever since Russell Wilson was traded and brought into Denver. This is the best offensive skill set of weaponry that he's ever had as a quarterback. And not only that, he's got the best offensive line in front of him he's ever had, going back all the way to 2014, 2015 when they went to the Super Bowl and the whole run the football with Marshawn. Like, they just haven't surrounded him with that kind of talent that he has here in Denver. To have a conversation about whether it's Alberto or it's Greg Dulcich that's the starting tight end, or like who's going to be the third best wide receiver on this team, like who's the third option, like that's never happened for Russell Wilson. So it's just so much fun to be able to be optimistic about this team again, especially on the offensive side of the football.
It's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to the offensive personnel. Mm-hmm. Which Denver's had for a while. They just were missing that quarterback. I mean, what? Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace. Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton as a rookie. Like, they've had good receiving cores for quite a while. Tight end has been hit or miss. They've had decent over the years. They've had decent at running back, but they just haven't been able to get that quarterback. And it really wasted quite a few years of multiple receivers there. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see what some of these guys could do with great quarterback for their whole career. But it's great that we finally have one, because now we can see what fully Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick can do when the balls being thrown their way are placed better, when the reads are better, when they're not having to deal with quite as much contact or deal with quite as much contested catches. With Jerry Jeudy, who's going to be better utilized by an offensive coordinator, who's going to sit there and not just be the blindfold, so to speak, for defenses, or the hey, look at me guy.
Yeah, the decoy.
And the decoy. There we go. I couldn't think of the freaking word. And he's finally has a quarterback. I mean, we saw him struggle for the last 2 years with both quarterbacks. One more so than the others, just simply because of the amount of games played with them. That's the main reason why, because last year he dealt with the injury and missed a good amount of time where Teddy Bridgewater was a starter. And then, like, we just saw him struggle. I mean, the highlight of his career was him taking the ball away from a defender on what would have been an interception because Brett Rippon couldn't throw a good ball. Like, that's the highlight of his career, which is saying something.
Yeah, it's either that one, which is definitely up there, or the 92-yard catch and run against the Raiders in Week 17 of his rookie season. Like, but that's really it. A lot of the stuff that you hear of Jerry Jeudy is the bad drops and the inconsistencies and the cryptic tweets and everything like that. Like, Hot Take Radio guy likes to talk about all that crap. But let's be honest here. That 92-yard touchdown that he had against the Raiders was on a perfectly placed football, on a well-designed play, on a blown coverage, to be honest, as well. But still, it showed the ability that you have when you have the timing down, the ball placement's there, he gets the ball in his hands, and he has all of the ability in the world to take something like that to the house on any given play. Now you're going to get some more consistent quarterback play, and hopefully it actually works out for him, as Eric is going around the world here with his camera. Man, technical difficulties tonight is
it's just the theme of the show. The normal issues with my mic. And real quick to clear this up, Dale Fleming says there have been tight ends that started as rookies, but the breakout was second or third year. I think that's Eric's point. Could be wrong though. No, that is my point. That the contribution from tight ends, it typically takes 2 to 3 years before they develop. Their breakout year on average is year 2 or 3. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Again, exception to the rules, but the rule is there for a reason.
Right. As Jeff jumps in here, Ozzie Newsome was the Browns Offensive Player of the Year his rookie season. That's the exception to the rule. Just as with defensive linemen, it typically takes 2 or 3 years before they break out and really emerge, but there are some that come in right away as a rookie. Rules. But the exception to the rules are there. It's like that in everything. And football and all sports are one of them. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty for baseball and hockey and
basketball and badminton and golf and all those other ones. The point is that you don't typically see a huge year from a rookie tight end.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right there on that one. I want to pivot this conversation off of this instead of talking about tight ends and offense and whatnot. I've got some numbers to run by everybody. Obviously, we're talking about the red zone, the efficiency of the offense at the beginning of this show. I want to switch to the defensive side of the football. Under Vic Fangio, this last 3 seasons, Denver was incredibly efficient in the red zone. They gave up a lot of yards. They were at the bottom of the league in the NFL in terms of giving up yardage on a per game basis. Somewhere around the 350 to 370-ish area. So that's a lot of yards to give up. But they, in terms of red zone efficiency, they finished in 2019, 2020, and 2021 first, and second in terms of touchdown allowed percentage. 39.13 2019, 2020, 47.54%, and then last season at 50%, which was second in the NFL. We've got a new defensive coordinator. Obviously, everybody knows the upheaval in this coaching staff has brought a lot of new changes, a lot of new faces coming in defensively as well.
What? The Broncos had coaching staff changes? Haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who decided to start that rumor, but I'm really starting to want to hit him in the head because it's getting old. Anyways, Randy Gregory getting brought in. You're seeing the Damari Mathis, obviously, with the draft class and stuff like that. Nick Benito, Ayomo Wazirike. You're losing Alexander Johnson from this last season. You get Josie Jewell back healthy. They're like just a change in everything. And also you lose one of the greatest defensive minds in all of football in Vic Fangio to go to Ejiro Evero. Young up-and-comer, everyone is like predicting him to be a head coach here in the next probably 5 years or so. He learned under Vic Fangio. He learned under Wade Phillips. He learned under Dom Capers as well as the Buccaneers guy. I can't remember his name. Damn it. Architect of the Tampa 2 defense. Regardless, doesn't matter. Is there a possibility that obviously there's a possibility you lose Vic Fangio that this team could fall out of the top 2 in terms of red zone efficiency? But is there a possibility they stay there with the talent they have and a new scheme that wants to be more aggressive? Do they stay in the top, or is there an expected fall off here?
So there's
it's a loaded question, by the way.
There is, because there's a lot that goes into it, because the Vic Fangio defense last year, yes, those are great numbers in the red zone. The whole bend don't break mentality. My cord behind my webcam's all messed up too, which is why it keeps turning on me. But the whole bend but don't break mentality that helps lead to it. But how many times did we see them? Those 30-yard, 40-yard, 80-yard touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
The broken coverages. There was the 2 against the Baltimore Ravens. Yep. There was 1 or 2 more in another game. Like it happened. I think that with the talent they have, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a drop. I'm not sure. Maybe out of top 10, but I don't think it would drop down below, into the bottom half. I think at the very least we're looking at top 12. Just because the talent is so insane and because there are so many similarities to the scheme that Vic Fangio ran. I think most of the differences that we're going to see is up front, with the defensive line usage and the way they attack the pressure packages, that aspect of it. The coverage I'm expecting to be predominantly the same, which is going to help ease the transition for some of these guys like Justin Simmons, Ojemudia, Surtain into this new scheme. And Damari Mathis, what he did in college is basically identical to what's being projected. And we can make it this safe assumption is the safe assumption of what Evero is going to run based off of the moves that they have made on the defense. Because it very much stressed that it's going to be similar to what Brandon Staley did 2 years ago with the Rams and Raheem Morris did last year, where Evero was the passing game coordinator. So it's difficult because if they drop again, I don't think it'll be out of top 12, but they could very realistically stay in the top 10, in the top 5 even, because they improved in key areas. They hopefully, anyways, improved their ability to get after the quarterback. They hopefully improved their ability to stop the run. They hopefully won't have as many broken coverages. They hopefully won't have issues where the defense doesn't want to play for the head coach or the defensive coordinator in this case. Hopefully we don't have those issues like we had at points last year,
Right.
which should reflect to better performance on the field. And, of course, the offense.
I was going to say Dale Fleming jumping in here with an astute comment to piggyback off of this. But with a better offense, giving up the field goals that we gave up under Vic Fangio won't hurt the same. And I've heard it on multiple different other media outlets. It's an opinion I hold as well. When you got to Broncos -7, they're down 7. That seems like an insurmountable achievement because the offense was just so bad. Now you have an opportunity to have an offense that's going to go out and get you a lead so that you can actually show the defensive talent on this team in a new way. Like you can actually get after the quarterback. You can send some creative blitz packages. You can do everything in your power to make it more difficult for the opposing offense to not just play vanilla schemes and run the football down your throat, march up and down the field and get into the red zone, kick field goals. That works for teams like Kansas City, who still has the ability to have those explosive plays. Well, they didn't have them against Denver this last season, but like that's where you're like that's the big premise of this. You have the ability with the Vic Fangio defense where everything's just so spread out. We're just kind of keep everything in front of us. We'll clamp down. You can have these big explosive plays. You can move the ball at will on us if you want to, but as long as you're not scoring touchdowns, we're going to still be in this game. They didn't have the offense to play that kind of strategy, and it got incredibly old, especially over this last season in general, where the offense, while it wasn't great, was still better than it has been over the last couple of seasons. There's a lot of give and take to this, and I want your opinion on this one because you've done a great job of bringing in some guys that can get after the passer, or at least have the potential to get after the passer. And Eyomo Wazirike, you bring in Randy Gregory. You're hoping to get Bradley Chubb back fully healthy. Nick Bonito is a great pass rusher as well, coming out of Oklahoma. DJ Jones has the ability to get after the passer a little bit, even though that's not necessarily his forte. He still has the ability to do that. With Baron Browning taking that next step forward, are you wanting to see more of an aggressive nature in the front seven this year than we have seen with Vic Fangio over the last 4 or 5 seasons, where a lot of the time it was rush 4 with creative twists and stunts, maybe bring a 5th guy? Are you wanting to see some more aggressive, like creative blitzing where you bring in 6 or 7 guys, rely on the man cornerback coverage that you have on the outside that both Ronald Darby and Pat Surtain can do? Or are you wanting to see kind of the same thing where you just kind of take what the offense gives you, keep everything in front of you, and then like the calculated blitzes and risks and chances like that?
I have never been one for the super aggressive blitzing 80, 70% of the time. Like, I know that's a pretty extreme number, but
right. Yeah.
I've never been one for that. I'm for the calculated blitzes because it's a passing game. I mean, you got to get after the quarterback, but at the same time, it's you can't take extra away from your out of coverage, and it really goes off of who you're playing. You got to change it up based off of that. Quarterbacks that are good quarterbacks that don't do well under pressure, well, you got to be able to get them to hold on to the ball, because that's the issue with blitzing. It's so easily beatable because you just get rid of the ball quicker. You can find that opening and you do that, and that's an issue that has been there for the Broncos for the last few years with Derek Carr. They've tried to blitz him because he does have issues handling the blitz, but he just gets rid of the ball in under 2 seconds. Just a quick little dump off. So you have to have that balance. So I want to see creative blitzing. I want to see usage of all these pass rushers that they have in, especially after last year, seeing how much we struggled getting after quarterback, even when we blitzed. Like, you got to be effective at it if you're going to do it. And that also can really leave a bad taste in your mouth. But I also want to see, those oh crap, what is the term now? I can't think of the term now for it.
You lost me here.
Oh, Nick always talks about it.
The synergy?
Always mentions it. No, the simulated pressures.
There you go. Okay.
Which is just basically adjusting your lineup with the 4-man front to get somebody on a 2v1 to get somebody on that 1v1.
Right.
Or get that guy where you're getting 2 of your guys on a on a double team, so you have a free blitzer. The simulated pressures, you want to aim for that. So I want to see more of that, and I would fully expect to see that. I do want to grab this comment real quick from Shandy Bracey. Haven't seen, name's not familiar. You may have joined us before, but you look new to at least the Dove Valley Deep Divers. We appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you.
They say, evening Broncos country and Eric and Lance. I'm really hoping our run game will open up a lot more pass ops in the red zone. Really stoked on this year's run game. I'm right there with you with being stoked for this year's run game, but I'm of the philosophy that you use the passing game to open up the running game, not the other way around. Same thing with you use play action passing to open up running. Like it's not, you don't run the ball to open up play action. Used to be that way, but the trend of the NFL has changed, and you do better when you can use the passing game or the play action passing to open it up. And how you do that is to open up the aspect in the red zone specifically is you use a lot of that, the running or the play action passing and stuff between the 20s to help open up the running game in there. And also you keep that threat of the running game to help open up your passing game. I mean, it's a lot of synergy there, but the passing aspect of it does more to open up the running game than the other way around.
The one thing I want to, sorry, go ahead, finish up.
So hopefully we see that. But I'm really stoked for this run game. Yeah.
I am as well. And the one reason why, and I'm going to disagree with you, but still agree with you on some certain things with the wide zone and play action bootleg passing. The wide zone is essential to that because you get the big flows, and then you need to have that athletic quarterback that can come back around on the backside on the bootleg. You need to have that flow look. It doesn't need to be that your running game is effective, but you need to have that flow look. That to me is the one thing that I think we're going to see a big improvement in this team because the designs based on what I understand of what's coming out of this offense, utilizing that run game to open up and get Russell Wilson back on the backside where you now have an athletic quarterback that can throw on the run. And also, oh, by the way, he's one of the top rushing quarterbacks we've seen in the last 10 years, guys. This guy is absolutely phenomenal running the football. To me, that's why I'm the most excited about this running game because it opens up so many different options. Eric, I 100% agree with you on your play action passing in terms of straight drop back play action passing.
It's even with the outside zone. It's even with outside zone.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but it helps to have that added effectiveness of the outside zone scheme where if you're effective with that up front and you do a good job running the outside zone, it opens up so much more on the backside. Like you got to get that flow. Everything has to be able to move in the flow and then come back around the backside. If you're killing them with the run game on the front side, that makes that play action passing game on the backside with the bootleg so much more effective, especially when you got a mobile quarterback like a Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I want to disagree, but not agree, but also not just whatever. We're saying the same thing in different ways.
but the thing is that bootleg is going to do more to open up that zone run.
Yes.
Than the zone run will to open up the run game because Jeff Noyes comes in and says with a $10 donation, thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that because I like your outlook on this team and the info you share with us. We appreciate that. We may not see the eye to eye on Doo Lock, but we appreciate your support. We appreciate you constantly coming in here. And trust me, I'm not trying to slam down on you or anything like that. It's just how I am. You can ask Lance. I'm just very, for lack of a better way to put it, aggressive in responses. I don't mean anything by it, but we appreciate your support and constant support.
Yeah, and Jeff, you do a really good job asking a lot of great questions and stuff like that to make us be better. It opens up a lot of very fun conversations and stuff like that. So don't ever think that we're coming at you to be assholes or to be jerks or anything like that. It's just always fun to be able to do that. Jacob Foster jumping in here. Nothing to say, just showing some love there on Facebook, throwing some stars down. Thank you, Jacob. We appreciate that. Couple more, I think. Let's see if we got here. Jared Nayermeyer, I need you to get at me at Sanderson MHH. Because this comment here is a great way for us to open up and have an opportunity to talk to one of the Broncos legends and Gary Zimmerman, because Jared says, I'm good friends with Gary Zimmerman. He's actually coming to the San Francisco game in September. He seemed interested in joining your tent for a while. Let me know how to get in touch with you guys. I can actually do that. I would love to have Gary join up on the show one of these times as well, but we can definitely do that. Also hit up Chad at Chad and Jensen. Get like that's the best way to do that. As far as getting into the tent, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to make it for this year's game as far as the meet and greet goes. Just financially not potentially able to do something like that. However, if I am able to do so, I would love to do that. I would love to get Gary on our show, though. Talk to him about this offensive line. Talk to him about this wide zone scheme, because this guy is. I mean, you're talking about one of the best insights, a Hall of Fame left tackle in the NFL, played in the league for a long time. That is like widely knowledgeable about exactly what this scheme entails and what it can bring and how this offensive line might gel. So Jared, please get at me at Sanderson MHH, get at Chad and Jensen. Let's see if we can't link this up and get Gary in touch with everybody here at the Mile High Huddle community, because this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, Chad is definitely the one to reach out for the game. As Lance said, he's not sure he's going to be able to make it. I'm definitely not. I have a wedding that I have to travel to next May, which I got to save up money for and be able to handle that. And then a wedding just under 2 years from now, for my wife and I to have our wedding redo. So probably not going to be able to make it down for a little while anyways. I wish I could. And last year was a lot of fun. And I appreciate everybody that showing up and being able to meet you and everybody, and Dale for the tickets, like just everybody. It was awesome meeting you guys.
Yeah.
Gonna miss not going this year. And Dale Fleming says, I love a good, respectful, passionate discussion with disagreement and no echo chamber. Yeah, the echo chamber stuff is what drives me nuts, and that typically is where I get more heated. Just echoing what other people have said, and instead of just trying to have the discussion about it. And it goes in all things. But Dale, I mean, it's always appreciative of hearing. Jeff says, I'm not the sensitive type, no worries. Appreciate that as well. Through the internet, can't always tell who's a sensitive type or not. Just want to make sure that that we don't mean anything by it with how we come off of.
Yeah, a lot of it is we're reading your text and you're hearing our voice. And like the big thing is that this is Eric and I's forte and specialty. Apparently we've been bad about it before, where it like we come off as jerks and like as corrective, and like we don't really do a great job of connecting with everybody. That's not that.
No. That's just you.
No, that's definitely you. That's definitely you. But no, to see when you come back and say I'm not the sensitive type, no worries, and we appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you very much. We do mean it. We're not trying to be jerks, guys. It's and Dale's like, too many snowflakes. Okay, yeah. We're not trying to be jerks. We're trying to just have a conversation with you. If you were here to talk with us, it'd be better. You can never read tone though, and that's the hard part. So
there's no tonality in text messages.
Exactly. And Jeff coming in, I enjoy a good discussion. We enjoy a good discussion with you. We enjoy a good discussion with everybody on the Dove Valley Deep Divers podcast. And with that, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining us. You all have a great weekend. Stay safe and take care. I want to first, though, give a quick shout out again to make sure you guys follow us. Jared, please, I'm begging you, please, at Sanderson MHH on Twitter. Find me on Facebook if you have to. Lance Sanderson, add me as a friend. We'll link up. You and I can talk about it. We'll talk about getting Gary linked up and whatnot like that. But find me at Sanderson MHH, guys. For Eric, at Erick Trickel. Also for Scott, who didn't actually make it, but still got to give Scott a lot of love for setting up the stream, doing everything he does behind the scenes to help out with Dove Valley Deep Divers and every single one of the shows. At Scout Kennedy, make sure you get at him. Also, guys, at Mile High Huddle. That's the mother account where you guys are going to find breaking news and analysis regarding your Denver Broncos. Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. It's another great way to link up with everybody in the Mile High Huddle community. A lot of great conversation going on over on that stuff as well, guys. Folks, if you're financially able to do so, super chats and stars donations are a great way to help support the show. But if you want to get something else and kind of help spread the word about the Mile High Huddle and Huddle Up Podcast Network and whatnot, Dove Valley Deep Divers as well. HuddleUpPod.com, guys. Get your swag on. You get the hat. There's T-shirts, face masks, coffee cups, teddy bears for your baby, a onesie as well, something for the guys, something for the gals, anything to suit your fancy. HuddleUpPod.com. Great way to, let's see, like birthday gifts, Father's Day, Mother's Day, anything like that. That's a great way to help support the show. Spread the word as well, because that is a great way to help us kind of advertise and whatnot. And it looks cool. Like all of our swag is awesome. Those guys are doing a great job. But if you guys aren't financially able to do so with any super chat, stars, the donations, HuddleUpPod.com, doesn't matter. Three things, guys. The ticker down on the bottom. subscribe wherever you guys are watching this, YouTube especially, but Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe to Mile High Huddle, guys. It helps us so much. If you guys don't understand how much that helps us, like every video and podcast you guys see across all social media platforms. And if you love it, you love what we're doing here at Huddle Up Podcast Network and milehighhuddle.com, please share it, guys. Get it in front of as many Broncos fans as possible, because without your guys' support, we could not do what we do best, which is cover your Denver Broncos. With that, Eric, any last words, man?
Yeah, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. And I mean, I've talked about my losing weight here. It was great. I was finally able to step on the scale and be under 310 pounds. I think that's the first time I've ever stepped my weight. Was finally able, this may not seem like a big thing. I'm not a big runner, never have been. But I was able to finish a full mile without having to stop or anything like that. I've been able to do that since middle school. And it's a big deal for me because I've always struggled losing weight and everything. And what happened quite a few episodes ago was kind of an eye opener a little bit. I started trying to lose weight beforehand, got up to almost 350 pounds. So like making some really good progress. So patting myself on the back for that. But I just want to say, everybody, have a good night. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care. Don't drink and drive. Be careful with the fireworks. Don't shoot them at people.
Hey, don't tell me what to do, man. Roman candle fights were so fun.
And especially, again, don't drink and drive.
Yes, please, guys. There's ride services out there. There's lots of family members, friends, doesn't matter. Please take care of yourself. As Todd says, take care, everyone. Have a happy and safe 4th of July. You all as well, please. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Please stay safe and take care of yourselves. As always, have a great rest of your weekend. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Enjoy the barbecue. Enjoy the fireworks. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week here on the Dove Valley Deep Divers podcast. And as always, go Broncos.